I'm Julie, and this is my work, and it's called I Cannot Feel That I Do. So my work, this is a body of work made during my MA, and the work before my MA has been to do its response to grief and loss through suicide. So as I moved into onto my MA, I started to find my voice, and rather than the subject being hidden in the way that I was making, it became more vocal. And I discovered that by closing my eyes and touching my body and feeling, I could connect with the feelings that were going on inside my body. And then the marks that I made responded to how I felt. And then I thought about how we live our lives, and our lives are quite complicated, and one thing happens to us and that affects the next thing that happens to us, and it might affect the next thing. So I just thought I'd make my drawings and I'd build them all up in layers. So each layer would have an impact on the one that came next. And then another thing that occurred to me, that some of the things in life I can't control, they just happen, whereas some things I choose. Some are good, some are bad, some I remember, some I forget. So I just thought about these stains, these blemishes that I carry around with me in my life. So I started rolling up fabrics and putting bottles of ink inside and carrying them around and letting them leak and cause marks that I wasn't controlling, and also choosing colours I wouldn't normally pick. So the end result is, fabrics that are stained and marked, some that were just collected in the print room, and then these drawings that I've made, which are a record of how I might have been feeling in that moment. And so they're all about a conversation, how we talk about things that are unspeakable. So they're all displayed a bit haphazardly, how they ended up going up today, like a conversation. The conversation is very spontaneous. Some parts we remember, some parts we forget, and the next day the conversation is different. So that's what my work is about.
Hi, this is an installation that I've just constructed this afternoon, and I'm calling it Safety Net. It's really a provocation for us to think about what makes us feel safe and what makes us feel unsafe. Also, comfort and discomfort, it's this sort of polarization of these feelings, because some things will make us feel both. I was also thinking about all the images we see on TV and on social media of people who are displaced through war or famine or persecution, and how they have to leave everything to live in a temporary shelter. So I was thinking about it in a way as a temporary shelter, but also remembering my childhood and thinking about making dens. And at the moment, for me, a den is somewhere that you can hide away from maybe supervising adults, have a bit of comfort and privacy. But in fact, of course, this is not private. So you are invited to, the audience, my visitors are invited to touch, to add things to the net, and as the days go by, it will be transformed. It will become more private, it will become more colourful. At the moment, it's rather a bleak black net, but it will become a very colourful net. So inside here, there are piles of strips of fabric from my stash at home, and some labels and a clipboard and a pen and cushions to relax on. But you're invited to come here and to transform this space into something that will be unique, colourful, and a community project, really, that it will be made by the visitors to the space. So if you come early in the session, come to the opening view, but also the private view, but come later and see what it's like when the show is finished. Okay, so this is the tea robe, and it's made out of recycled tea bags, and it's quite tactile. There are quite a few processes in it. So if I go through the processes first, and then why I made it. First is assembling the tea bag. So there's a whole process of drinking the tea, emptying the tea bags, washing, drying them and ironing, and then assembling them. So they're stitched together in panels. And then I have assembled the panels and screen printed over the top with a foil.
and then which gives it the iridescence, and then also attach some beads. The flowers are representative of the Camellia sinensis, which is the tea plant flower. So it's a very simple 5-petaled flower. It's very tactile, and the whole point of making it into a garment was so that you're taking something that would normally be thrown away or recycled into something that becomes wearable, and looking at the tradition of drinking tea and just a very loose fitting garment. That's about it really.
This is a sculpture called This Is How We Mend, and it is an old ladder that was found in some ancient woodlands near where I live, and it's basically been rotting in the woods for years and years and years, so it's ancient. And I saw it about 4 or 5 years ago, fell in love, and I decided I wanted to mend it. And what I've done is I've mended it with everything that is biodegradable. So I've used wheat paste glue, I've used beeswax, I've used waste fabric. So all of this is waste fabric, some old string, some bits of curtain material. And the reason I've called it This Is How We Mend is because I'm very interested in the idea of fixing problems with the planet and the environment. So all of my work is about the environment, but also in theory, this could, if I had a big enough one, this could go in a wormery, and the worms would be able to break it down, eat it, consume all the bits, lock the carbon away, and leave behind just the little steps of the ladder. Hello, I'd like to introduce you to Lillie, who is a curator here at the Wirth Gallery at Sherborne Girls. And what we're going to do is we're going to just talk a little bit about my installation work, which is called Legacy. And Legacy is all about the legacy we all leave behind on an annual basis in terms of textile waste. And it's quite staggering. Everybody in the UK, in theory, creates 3.1 kilos of textile waste a year. And what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to pick that up and feel what that feels like. Okay.
Yeah, it's quite heavy.
It's quite considerable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So in theory, that's you and me and everybody in this room.
Yeah.
And when I have conversations with people, they often say, well, I don't do any waste textiles, which means that somebody's got theirs. I don't waste textiles. So somebody's got my percentage.
Yeah.
So then that is broken down. If you want to pop that down, that is then broken down into 4 different ways of disposing of it. So that's the 3
So that's yearly waste.
That's yearly waste per person.
Per person.
Yeah.
Just one person.
Just one person.
Every year.
And this is all textile waste.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And then this one, if you feel that, that's the amount that goes to landfill.
Okay, yeah, really dense.
Out of that amount,
Yeah.
that goes to landfill.
And that's 1.7 kilograms.
1.7 kilograms,
So this
and
is
that, of
exactly-
course, is going to either rot down
Yeah.
and create all sorts of nasty gases,
Yeah.
or it's not going to rot down. It's
Yeah.
going to sit there for millennia if it's made of plastic,
So
which
this
a
is
lot,
just one for every person.
yeah,
Yeah.
into landfill.
Okay.
That is then incinerated, so that's, put that the right way around, 0.8 kilos
0.8 kilograms.
is burnt, again, going off into the atmosphere. You know, it could be fuel, it could be something else, it could be something else. That is recycled,
Okay.
which is 0.3 kilos.
Yeah.
It's not a huge amount, is it?
No, nothing really.
It's nothing. So,
Compared
but
to
also
this-
you have to remember that recycling uses energy, so you're going to have to take some sort of virgin energy to recycle that, because it's a process to recycle.
Okay.
And then this one, this is the little baby,
Oh, yeah.
that's reused.
Okay.
So that's what we want. We want to take textiles and we want to reuse it.
Yeah, but right now it's that. That's
Yeah.
how much we've got.
Yeah. Now, if you move over here to this bigger sculpture, So that's your waste.
Yeah.
This is something else. So if
Yeah.
you pick that up and read what that says.
Okay, this one
Yeah.
says, in addition to what is classed as waste, we also each produce 5.9 kilograms of used clothing for export overseas per person a year.
So that's nothing to do with that.
No.
That's what we think of when we say we're recycling our textiles and we take it to the charity shop.
Oh.
That's in addition. It's nothing to do with that. 5.9 kilos.
So it's that and that, just a person every year.
Yeah. And when that goes across the seas,
Yeah.
and we think, oh, we're doing a favour, send it across seas, that also ends up dumped because the countries that it goes to, they don't need it.
Yeah.
They've got their own industry for textiles, etc.
It's all just
So,
every year this
Yeah.
is accumulating.
yes,
It's just for one person.
one person,
That's scary.
disco.
That is really
And
scary.
that's the legacy.